Welcome to Screw the Stock Market. On this show, we discuss a variety of alternative asset classes, tools to help you unleash your money, a success mindset, and inspiration to see what's possible when we do things differently.
Hi. Before we jump into the episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you guys for being such avid listeners, and also to give you an opportunity to participate in various investment opportunities with Alex and I. Some of the same deals that we talk about will be offered to you so you can put into action what you've learned. Just go to www.screwthestockmarket.com and hit the Invest With Us button at the top of the page.
Hi everyone, welcome to Screw the Stock Market. Today we are having another timeout episode, just me and my buddy Aziz, just shooting the, I don't want to say the bad word. What's another phrase for
No,
just
we're on a podcast. Shooting the shit. Go ahead.
Shooting the shit? All right. I can't say bad words. Initially, the idea for this...
You've been a dad for too long.
I've never been one to curse that much. But initially, the idea for the name of this podcast was F the stock market. But I can't curse. It's just not really me. I can do it, but I'm not going to just casually do it. So we changed it to Screw, and I'm glad, I'm happy with this. Screw is a little bit more my tone. But yeah, we're just going to be talking, telling stories, and we have a purpose because we're talking about identity today. Sorry for the lisp. I just got braces. I got this Invisalign, and I'm learning how to talk with them. And it cut up my tongue. It's been a little bit of a journey, but I think I'm getting used to it now.
It's your new identity.
It's my new identity, yes. I remember when you had braces, Aziz, when we first, like your childhood braces. That's how long we've known each other.
Back when I was bobbleheaded. Actually, we were both bobbleheaded.
We sure were.
Just skinny with
pounds.
giant heads. I was 130. You had 20 on me.
6 feet tall, 130 pounds.
Back then, not now. Complete opposite now.
Okay.
Trying to fight obesity anytime I can.
Yeah. All right. So we have a specific story that we want to share. It's really more of Aziz's story. I was there, but it relates to our point that we're going to connect to at the end, which is, again, identity. So I'll set the stage, if you don't mind. After we graduated from college.
Hold on. Let's set up the topic first in terms of the context so they get it within the context of the story.
Okay, bottom line up front. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things that we were talking about earlier today, and we touch on a lot on the show, is the concept of identity in terms of who our target audience a lot of times is, which are people like us, first, second generation immigrants, professionals. You've worked hard, you've done what your parents told you, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become a professional. And you're stuck in this wheel of just working hard for the rest of your life because that's what your family's told you have to. But it's interesting. Beyond just that aspect, you also, in this context of where you're never quite sure what your true identity is. I mean, in one context, you're, whatever culture you're from, because that's what's been ingrained into you by your family. But then at the same time, you're American, and then you're also adapted to this. So you're stuck between these two worlds, and you're always trying to figure out, what is my identity? What am I? Which is where the story comes into play. And it's something that happened to us years ago when Alex and I traveled to Japan. And basically, the story is, Alex and I are in Japan, and... No, actually, we were in Thailand at the time.
No,
we were in
Japan.
Thailand. Was it Japan?
Yeah, because we went to the tourist center in the middle of Tokyo.
You're right. Okay, I was thinking of the other Japanese guys we met in Thailand.
Yeah, that was cool too. That's another story
that was
for
a
another
different
time.
story. Equally entertaining. But we go to this tourist center somewhere in, I think it was Kyoto, and there's an old Japanese man sitting there just looking very wise, Mr. Miyagi-ish. For those of you who remember the Karate Kid, throwing stereotypes in there, sure. And he's, for some reason, no one we've met in Japan speaks English, but this guy speaks English, and I guess it's because he's at the tourist center. And he sees Alex and I, and he's chatting with us, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he asks me this question. What is your identity? He says it like that, too. I'm not even stereotyping that part.
1 second, though. His other employee, the other person, was just telling us, oh, you got to go see this attraction, you got to go see this temple, you got to go see this. They were just telling us, doing their job of just telling us what to do as tourists. But then this guy was just staring at Aziz. I was invisible. He was just fascinated. I don't know. There's something here. I don't know. He was just fascinated by you.
It's
and
because
your
I'm black.
appearance.
Japanese people are fascinated by black people in general. If you ever want to feel like a self-esteem boost as a black person, just go to Japan. It's great.
It is cool, right? Like I feel because it's a very homogeneous population, so
Right.
they don't have any of the preconceptions or like, I think maybe, I don't know. I don't know. You can talk about your experience there, but I imagine that they don't have the same preconceptions of negativity. It's just like, hey, this is something new. I'm curious. I want to learn about it. And maybe that's what he was doing. He was asking you, what is your idea?
I mean, there is some negativity because I think they universally discriminate against anyone other than Japanese people marrying in or becoming Japanese. They're very homogeneous in that context. But as an individual, I don't think they have any type of animosity. And they just seem very fascinated by black people. So I felt very good about myself the whole time I was there. But I was every black celebrity short of Al Roker. It was great. Even had somebody run up to me and it's like, Warren G, regulators! For those of you who are 90s hip-hop fans, you'll get that reference there. But
When we edit, we're going to put that little intro. Dun, 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 dun.
oh
All right,
gosh.
let's get back to the story. Let's go
Yeah,
track.
okay, all right.
Your identity.
He comes up and he's just, after staring at me, goes, what is your identity? So I'm assuming he's asking what's my citizenship or whatever. So I was like, oh, we're both from the U.S. He's and then he like leans back in but what is your identity? So I'm like, oh, I guess he can tell I'm from somewhere else besides the U.S. So I was like, I'm ethnically Somalian. And he's, Somalian. And then I thought that was the end of the conversation. But then he leans back in. He's, but what is your identity? And I was like, I don't know. Do you want to know what my tribe is? So I tell him what my tribe is. He's, okay. And then he like leans back in and goes, but what is your identity? I was like, where are we going with this? And then the next thing I'm like telling him my clan, my family, my sub-clan. I'm just going down the entire genealogical line of everything I can think of. And he still keeps coming back asking me what my identity is. And I'm at the end, I'm like, human? I don't know. I am one with the universe. I don't know where to go with this. Now I'm having like an identity crisis as if I didn't have one already. I don't even remember how we resolved it. I think eventually we just walked away or something.
You did definitely get overwhelmed, and you were like, at the end, you didn't wait for him to ask. You just gave him like a bunch. I'm from this tribe. I'm from this clan. I'm the son of this. He's the son of this person, and you went through like the genealogical kind of biblical identity. And what was really cool for me, thinking I knew you for a long time at that point, but
Yeah.
I was really jealous because I couldn't go through that kind of identity. All I got is Honduran, and then like family or American, whatever. But like it was cool that you still have that kind of genealogy and like roots that you can call on.
I mean, you got your DNA test now. You can just rattle off that. Latino, indigenous, black, what are you, Scandinavian? I still say you're part Arab, even though
Yeah, weird, huh?
it's got to be in that Iberian portion.
Oh, that must be it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're all the things.
Bringing it back to identity, I thought it was really cool because I think we all have these different identities, right? We're multiple things. And one of the things that was cool is you can prioritize. We can decide which ones are more important to us. It reminds me of a conversation I had with a friend, Chad, from work, who happens to be a gay man. And it was really interesting as I got to know him better, for him, his identity, it was much more important to be a black man, and then he was gay, and then all these other things. And it was just like, hey, you can decide which parts of your identity are more important to you. And at the end of the day, you're right. It's kind of the bottom of the pyramid matters the most. Hey, we all have this in common. We're human beings. We all have the same struggles of wanting to find love and food and shelter and a purpose and all these things. And then the top of the identity matters the most too. I'm an individual. This is who I am. This is my purpose. This is my connection to the rest of humanity. And then also like family and some of those. Personally, those are the two most important, the bottom of the pyramid and the top of the pyramid. And all the stuff in between, maybe it's because I don't have them like you do. is less important to me, right? I don't have tribes or clans, or I'm not gonna. One of the funny ones for me is like,
Don't worry, we'll adopt you.
thanks, buddy. Yeah. But one of the funny ones for me is always sports or like cities, right? I like where I live, like the DC area, but I wouldn't like someone just because of that more than someone who lives in another city. It's not, hey, we're from the same area and so we have something in common. Like sports is the only thing I think that does that. And I don't care enough about sports to be like, yeah, go. I don't even know the name
Commanders.
of the team. Like, they changed the name. I was thinking
Commanders.
Redskins, but then they changed the name to
It's Commanders.
Warriors. What?
No, Commanders. What?
Commanders? See, I don't. Whatever.
We're scratching this episode before we get disowned by all the local folks.
I like DC, but it's
You've got the Nationals, you got the Commanders, the Wizards.
that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I actually like basketball. Okay, so this conversation hit a hard stop. Okay,
Let's get back. Identity.
okay, identity. As we've been developing the show, it's definitely a work in progress. We've been just feeling it out, and I think over time we're getting more and more focused on what we want to get out of the show and who we want to connect with, who we want our audience to be, who we want our guests to be. And it's become more and more clear to us that it's people like us. I don't know, I'm thinking of coining the phrase outsiders for us and our audience, right? Growing up as a Honduran here in Northern Virginia, where back then there weren't very many Hondurans at all, and just feeling, okay, I'm not Honduran enough for my Honduran family, I'm not American enough for America, I'm in between, I'm an outsider. And then the more and more I got to know people like Aziz and other friends who were also in that same boat, I'm very much at home with outsiders. And that's what we want. That's who we want to connect with. That's who we want to inspire. That's who we want to share this information with. And it's not necessarily even like an ethnic thing. I think that outsider thing is more of it.
Anyone from, not only is it like your background also, but also in terms of the financial aspect. The one thing that we all share, regardless of where you come from, is this stuff was not taught to us. This is not anything intrinsic to our family. I mean, we all came here fresh spanking new, just in survival mode. And that's been the focus of our families. And now we're the first generation to be able to have the time to actually, wait a minute, there's more to than just surviving. We can thrive. And there's more than this 9 to 5 kind of thing. We're from the outside looking in, trying to figure out how to get in and get all this information and knowledge to build wealth and gain freedom. And we're all in the same boat together as outsiders.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing, is knowledge is power. And I've always had that feeling, right? That there's stuff I don't know. Just again, like
Definitely.
It starts even at school. I remember my parents telling me that I was pretty advanced as a little kid, but when they went to register me for kindergarten, just because of the date that my birthday was, they said, "Oh, he's got to wait another year," and so I had to wait another year, and then they let me in, and they were really disappointed later when they found out that they could have just pushed a little bit harder and gotten me in there because I was advanced and I could have like kickstarted my education and continued to grow and learn faster. And I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff like that happened along the way. That's the one that my parents always tell me about. And now that I'm a parent, right, I have a little bit of that extra knowledge where I ask other parents and they're like, "Oh, you can register for the bilingual program and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, I didn't even know that happened, but I want to learn the system so that I can game it for my little girl.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a point of it. And same thing for our financial success and our financial freedom, is we got to learn the system, we got to learn the rules, and then go out and play the game. That's what the show's all about.
Definitely. Outsiders.
Outsiders. I like it. All right, everyone. That's what this show's all about. That's who the show is for. Outsiders. I like it. We want to encourage you to just keep tuning in, and we want to thank you for listening. We want to just encourage you to participate in our community. Let's build it up and help each other get there and grow so that we can continue to learn these lessons and get to that next level of success that we all know is out there, and it's really possible for us.
And we encourage you to reach out, as we're putting this show just as much for ourselves as it is for you guys. So if you have any questions or any topic areas that you really want to learn more about or you're super interested in, let us know. We'll find expert speakers and we'll try to put together a program to cover that topic. We're always looking for new ideas and new avenues for building wealth. So reach out to us, send us an email, hit us up on our Instagram or YouTube or wherever, and let us know what you guys want to learn about, and we'll get you covered as soon as possible.